today let's take a look at how much a hair system actually costs. I think this video is really important for all of us out there because, listen, we live in the real world here, and finances are a real thing that we all have to contend with. So understanding how much a hair system actually costs on a monthly basis, how it fits into your budget, and how the rest of your budget relates to it, I think is a pretty important topic. So what we're going to be doing today is diving into the computer, and we're going to be looking at some of the different things and how I build out my budget and how I factor in a hair system, make sure it's okay for me, and maybe you can learn along. Right here, what I have broken down, this is very messy, right? But as you can see, we have different categories that generally are inside of a budget for an individual. So we have housing, we have insurance, we have food, transportation, utilities, savings, fun, clothing, and personal. And I've broken out the target percentages for each of these categories that someone might want to shoot for. The ideal, if you're looking to really invest and build wealth, is to live off of less than 50% of your income. That's a great rule of thumb. So if you can do that, then that's great. But we'll use this for their intermediary and start using this. So for the purposes of this video, I want to assume that all of us have a medium job income of around $50,000 for us to work off of. And we're going to break down the percentages, and we're going to start looking at it right there. Okay, so housing, 25 to 35%. So we'll do 50,000 times, we'll just say 30.3%. All right, now let's do this for insurance, which is, we'll just say 15%, so equals 50,000 times 0.15. We'll split it down the middle. We'll do 50 equals 50,000 times, we'll do 15 at the high end. Transportation, 50, there we go again, so 7,500. We'll fill out these right here. Utilities, 50,000 times 0.1 at 10%. We'll say this equals 50,000 times 0.1 times 0.1. Do this at 0.1, and then clothing at equals 50,000 times 0.05. All right, so our total equals sum right here. So already we can see that we're over the budget of $50,000 per year, and that's before taxes, right? So let's just break that up into how much we're spending per month. That's $5,000 per month on all of our goods, right? Now I'm going to show you what I have for my expenditures, right? So we'll start with rent. So I spend around $800 per month for rent. I live in a fairly expensive city, and I have purposefully found a location that is less expensive and also includes my utilities. Now that automatically saves me 5 to 10% of my overall budget. That saves me potentially $5,000 a year, right? So rent is $800 a month. Insurance costs me about $180 per month. We'll do food. Now food is something I actually spend more on than the average person. I spend probably in the ballpark of around $600 per month in food, and that is at the grocery store. I eat a lot of food. I'm a big guy, and I eat really high quality food, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, not a lot of meat actually. Transportation. Now, I'll include in transportation my car insurance and my average gas expenditure, which is right now during world events is not much, but that comes out to about $100 a month, $50 for insurance, and about $50 a month in gas. Let's talk about utilities. I don't have to. Savings. This right here is, let's just keep this at, let's just say 20%. Let's just say it's $1,000 a month. For fun. Now, I actually don't have a set line item for how much I spend on fun because I kind of live pretty cheaply. But what I do include in this fun is my gym and things like that, which will probably equal about maybe $400 per month. Clothing, this comes in waves and bouts for me, but I don't buy clothing on a consistent basis. If I'm going to buy some stuff, I'll buy a full outfit, so it might be a little bit higher some months, but I would say over the year it probably averages around $75 a month. And let's see, for personal things, we'll put in $150. I don't really buy a lot of personal things. I'm kind of a minimalist like that. And let's just see where we're at. So right there, I am spending around $3,300 per month. And if we look at this and then we multiply it, it is about $39,000 per month. Now this is on pretty much everything that I need to survive and way more. I can live on quite a bit cheaper than this. So from here, right, the question is, well, how much does a hair system cost? How can I fit it into my budget? Where am I going to be spending money? How much is it going to cost every single month, right? So what I think, right, is a hair system. Let's just say that you wind up finding a place that's not Hair Club, that's a little bit cheaper, and that does your maintenances, your installations for you, and you buy the unit from them. So you're probably going to get the unit for somewhere between $400 to $500. So let's say $450, and you also you buy, let's say on the high end, you buy 4 units per year. So 450 times 4, and that means they're going to be lasting 3 months each. And then we'll say adhesives, tapes, let's just say you spend $60 per year. And remember, this is on the high end that I'm doing. And then you do the services in between the installations yourself, and you have shampoo. But this is something that I already would include in my regular budget because I was already buying shampoo. But shampoo, conditioner, let's just say $60 a year. All right, so we can see that we are at $19.20 for the full year, and if we break it down further, that is $160 a month all in. So if I spend $160 a month on a hair system, that brings me up to a grand total of $41,580. Now this right here is not much higher, but let's just say for those out there that you have less than this coming in per month, how can you manage to navigate this? How can you make room for it in your budget? Well, let's start with food. If I needed to, right, I could decrease the amount of money that I spend on food. Like I said, I buy the highest quality food that I possibly can. I buy a lot of times organic, and I buy a lot of food, and I buy a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, which aren't cheap. I'm eating the highest thing I possibly can. So let's just say $41,580 is the high end. Now let's diminish that. I am going to put this down to $400 per month, and I am going to, let's just say I put $900 in my savings, so I decrease it by $100. Entertainment, I put at $400, which includes my gym membership, which once again, gym is probably the thing I spend the most money on in a month at $150 for a CrossFit gym. But let's just say I decide that I am going to decrease this down to $300 a month, which is including my gym membership. Maybe I don't do one thing that costs $100 a month, right? Personal things. So already you can see that with including a hair system and all the things necessary inside of it, I've already made my life cheaper than what it actually costs with a hair system if I didn't make modification. Now, the point of me showing you this is to prove that, it's not if you can afford a hair system. It's more a question of value, and it's a question of what your priorities are. Now, spending $160 in a month goes so quick. It goes so quick, and it's so easy to spend that kind of money. If you think about it, it's maybe going out to eat 8 times. Maybe it's going out on 2 less dates per month. Maybe it's spending a little less money on clothing per month. And keep in mind, I'm also showing you that this budget right here is based off of $36,780 per year. Now, this is much lower than what the average income is for the American worker, being around $50,000 to $60,000. So this is something that's really possible, and it's attainable for people. Now, all of these things inside of the hair system, I also did not make them as cheap as possible. The hair systems with the installations at $450 times 4, that's probably in the medium range. Now, if you wanted to go to like lowered hair, right, you could get a unit for about $250. So now we'll do $250 a month times 4. We can see that's $1,000 a year, which breaks down to about $93 per month, which is saving $60-ish. So we've just detracted about $1,000 off of that budget right there. And what I think, in life, the thing to take away from this video and this message is really about what are your priorities? What matters to you? What's going to make you happy or contribute to your happiness? What are you going to do for you? Now, I know that the average American has a lot more expenses than I. And a lot of them, some of them are not self-inflicted, but a lot of them are self-inflicted. So maybe it's that new car that you have. Now, new cars are a terrible investment. I'm just going to say it outright. Anybody that knows anything about finance, as soon as you walk off a lot with a new car, it diminishes in value, and it's consistently decreasing in value. And the Will Smith quote goes, right, like, why do we buy things to impress people that we don't like? It just doesn't make sense, right? Now, if you're a car person, if you get a lot of satisfaction outside of a car, then that's great. But if hair is something that really matters to you, if it's something that you want to pursue and you want to make a part of your life, $93 a month is such a small part of a person's budget. Now, if we were saying that we wanted to go bare minimum with the budget, right? Let's go back to my example right here. I'm going to take out all of my savings. Let's just say for whatever reason I decide that I can't save money at the current moment. Say it's a rough economic situation or something, right? Okay, so I take out my savings, which not good, but I'll do it. Let's say let's drop this down. $400 a month is still, I could drop it down if I needed to, right? So let's just go to $300 a month. Then entertainment, if I wanted to, I could leave my CrossFit gym, and instead of spending $150 a month, I could spend $10 a month. So let's just put this at $160 a month if I had to. Clothing, it's not really necessary, but of course there's going to be times when you have to buy things like underwear and socks and stuff like that. So we'll do $20 a month. Now I'm back down to $21,000 per year that I'm living on, and that's with a hair system. And guys, I mean, this is a totally attainable lifestyle, and this isn't really giving up a whole lot. I mean, maybe it's giving up a whole lot for you. I don't know your life situation, and I can't attest to that. But the point of this is that when we're going through life, we have to prioritize. And there's a saying that says you can have anything that you want, but you can't have everything that you want unless you're, very, very, very wealthy individual, pretty much. And even then, you still can't have everything you want. And if hair is something that really matters to you, get creative, get strategic about how you're organizing your monthly budget. First off, are you making a monthly budget? Second, have you really started to dissect what it is that's of value to you? 3, can you sell off things? Can you alleviate your debt, right? Can you move forward into being a little bit more frugal? That way you have money for the things that matter. And this is about hair systems, but it's also about, it's just a life lesson of how to better maintain finances and get and have the things that you want and see them in a more affordable way. So I hope this is of value, guys, and I hope it shows you, having a hair system is not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. It's just not. And if you're making the average household income, it's totally attainable. It's something that you can do, and you don't even have to be living off of the bare minimum. It's not going to run you into the poorhouse. What's probably going to run you into the poorhouse are other bad financial decisions. Things like buying cars you can't afford, going out to eat all the time, going on vacations that you can't afford. Stuff like that is far more expensive. And I would argue, right, like a car payment can easily be $400 to $500 a month, and aggregate over 12 months you're looking at thousands of dollars per year. A simple vacation for a week could cost you $4, $5, $10, $20,000 depending on your extravagance level. And here we're saying that you could have a hair system, you could have something every single day of your life for about $1,000 a year, or $93 per month, or about $3 a day, right? And if we break it down like that, that's about the same cost as a cup of coffee. Maybe you just don't get a cup of coffee that day. Maybe you stop drinking coffee. I just stopped drinking coffee and it's going great. And I just saved myself $3 a day, more like $5 a day, because I love nice coffee and I spend on it a lot. So I hope this was an informational video for you guys and made you reconsider your budget and how you're spending money. And maybe, you see that a hair system is really not that unaffordable, and it's something that's attainable. All right. Talk to you soon.